Ang programang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Action Honda, where car ownership is made easy. Located at 4334 Kingston Road, Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Come to Action Honda. Whether bibili ka o hindi, it's always a pleasure to talk sa kababayan. Mabuhay!
Great car deals in action. Your Filipino friends ready at your service. Test drive at Action Honda today.
This TV program is intended for educational and awareness purposes only and solely as a self-help tool for your own use. The information provided in or through this TV program is in no way intended to be a substitute for the professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment provided by your own medical provider or mental health provider. You agree and acknowledge that Joy Unleashed International TV hosts and guests are not providing medical advice, mental health advice, or religious advice in any way. Always seek the advice of your own medical provider and or mental health provider regarding any questions or concerns that you might have to pertain to your own mental health.
Choosing to distinguish our strengths, our flukes, our weaknesses, and our individuality is the perfect gift we can give to the world. So, why don't we step into becoming the best version of ourselves? It doesn't matter what problems we are dealing, but the way we are dealing can significantly make a difference. The book intends to bring awareness to people on rediscovering themselves and aims to teach coping mechanisms to help them live a life without anxiety and depression. Based on the author's real-life story, the book will guide readers on the journey of understanding and rediscovering self and the freedom that comes with it. Grab your copies now.
From the author of the book Joy Unveiled, Unraveling the Key to Happiness, comes a radio show that talks about mental health awareness and balanced lifestyle that complements your goals and desires. Welcome to Healthy Mind, Healthy Heart, and You. Your Ate Ruth will simply provide the tools you need. Healthy Mind, Healthy Heart, and You.
Hello world! Hello Canada! Quebec, Calgary, Vancouver, Saskatoon, and Winnipeg. Hello USA, bonjour, hola, hey, hello, shalom, buongiorno, salam, guten Tag, Germany, niama, annyeong Korea, aloha, namaste, magandang araw, may adlaw kaninyong tanan. Welcome to Joy Unleashed, Healthy Minds, Healthy Hearts, here at MCBN TV and Pinoy Radio, Toronto. This is your host, na nagmamahal, Tita Ruth Theresa, broadcasting live. Tonight, our topic is mental health and you. It's Sunday night, prime time. So sit back, relax, and chill. What is mental health? Or kalusugan sa pag-iisip, mga kaibigan. Mental health is defined, includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle or cope up with our daily stresses, how we relate to others, and make healthy choices. Although the terms are often misused interchangeably, poor mental health and mental illness are not the same. A person can experience poor mental health and be diagnosed with a mental illness. Likewise, a person diagnosed with mental illness can experience periods of physical, mental, and social well-being. But before we dig deeper into tonight's topics, let us first go to our power of connection. Happy birthday muna to the rest of the November celebrants. Birthday shoutouts to Fetsi Gomola of Oroquieta City, Conchetta Cantago of New York, Gwen Ray, Nico, Lagas, and Richie May, Prezi Vinny, Tita Prez of Texas, Chantal Cartago of Vancouver, Vida Bugo, Michelle Abadies, Jenny Amara from Montreal, a happy first birthday from Lolo Noel and Lola Lali Pinol. Happy birthday, Sophie from Lola Grace, Niagara Falls. To Shanjay K of Ajax, John Barley Lagas, this is the son of Bayani. Happy birthday, John. Eddie Kaha, Dennis Fax. Lorna Kapan, of course, my very good friend Lorna of Mississauga. Alex, no, this is for Malu. Malu Araki from Indonesia, all the way from Indonesia. Faye Revel Madras from Jay. Aurora Halili, Arlene Sanchez, Capitan Edwin Cruz, Ticom Igazom of Mandaluyong. And of course, happy 92nd birthday to Mommy Tel, and that's Thelma Paler. To Auntie Grace Trosho, Hector Villanueva, Christine Kwan, Susan Alegres of Los Angeles, and of course, Dr. Romy Tan. Dr. Tan, happy birthday from all of us here. And to all of you who are under the weather, please be well and stay safe. So, as we reach the age of 55 and above, and the so-called retiring age, most of us face any kind of challenge, no? Facing a new life or post-pandemic. Ito na yung term, facing the new norms. It is all too common to avoid discussions about mental health at this stage. One might think that at some point, given the adult wisdom, given our wisdom highlights, yung mga gray hairs natin, it is believed that they can just snap out of it. And perhaps the biggest threat to older adults' mental health is that many of them, or even us, fail to recognize its symptoms and seriousness. Now, this kind of attitude have caused many to unnecessarily suffer from a treatable and preventable illness. Mental health decline, like for example anxiety and depression, still carries a stigma, especially among older adults who have trouble admitting they have a problem or say it is not happening because they have a very strong faith. Tonight, dear friends and audience, it is my pleasure and honor to stream in our mental health expert, Dr. Albert Gao. Dr. Albert Gao is a doctor, MD, family doctor, is a psychiatry specialist professor in San Francisco, California. He attended and graduated from the University of the Far East, University of the East College of Medicine in 1964, Having over 57, imagine 57 years of diverse experience, especially in psychiatry, he is a clinical professor of psychiatry at University of California, San Francisco, a board-certified psychiatrist of the Christian faith, a distinguished life fellow of the American Psychiatric Association, and a past speaker of the Assembly of the American Psychiatric Association. This is with prestige and honor. Among his numerous publications are 5 books: Cross-Cultural Psychiatry, Culture, Ethnicity, and Mental Illness, A Concise Guide to Cross-Cultural Psychiatry, The Eyes of the Heart, The Biblical Path to Spirituality and Inner Empowerment, and his latest, Empowered. And his latest volume, Empowered, invites both Christians and lay readers to harness their psychospirituality to empower their lives. Dr. Gao has retired from clinical practice but still engaged in research on psychospirituality. Before I stream him in, ladies and gentlemen, commercial muna tayo.
Good news for Tagalog-speaking job hunters with good English. Ideal Talents Staffing Solutions is in need of general labor, assembly and packing, shipper, receiver, forklift operator, office plant cleaners, and warehouse cleaners. The said jobs is available in the following areas: Milton, Mississauga, Brampton, Bolton, Barrie, Vaughan, and Scarborough. Get paid weekly. No resume required, no experience required, and it will be just a quick telephone interview. Interested applicants may visit the website idealtalents.ca or call 647-467-5356 or 647-460-5508. Ideal Talents Staffing Solutions. Apply today. Work tomorrow.
Kumukuti-kutita, bumubusi-gusila, ganyan ang indak ng mga bumbilya. Kikindat-kindat, kukurap-kurap, pinaglalaroan inyong mga mata. Hay! Pasko na naman, napakasarap ng pakiramdam. Lalo na't nakapagpadala na ako ng pamasko gamit ang Emiliano at Ana's No Frills promo. Makapag-video call nga, balita ko natanggap na nila yung padala ko.
Sa kabila ng patuloy na pandaigdigang krisis dulot ng COVID-19, hindi madadaig ng lungkot at pangungulila ang sayang dulot ng Kapaskuhan.
Halina, halina, halina.
Kung kaya naman, nasa magkabilang panig man ng mundo ang layo sa isa't isa, ngayong Pasko, asahang ang pagmamahal nila'y ipapaabot sa iyo. Sa tulong ng Balikbayan Box promo ng Emiliano and Ana's No Frills.
Magandang balita mga kababayan, nagbabalik po ang Balikbayan Box promo ng Emiliano and Ana's No Frills.
Ang Emiliano Ana's No Frills sa pakikipagtulungan ng DHL ay magbibigay daan sa libre at maagap na pagpapadala ng balikbayan boxes sa Pilipinas.
Paano sumali? Mamili lamang sa No Frills ng nagkakalagang $150 upang makatanggap ng isang 20 pounds balikbayan box na may kasamang free express shipping sa Pilipinas by air sa tulong ng DHL. Ngayon, dahil ang balikbayan box mo ay ihahatid sa Pilipinas gamit ang air freight. Mas mabilis itong makakarating sa pamilya mo. Tandaan, single purchase na nagkakahalaga ng $150 Canadian ang kailangan upang sumali. Kaya, ano pang inaantay mo? Sugod na sa Emiliano and Ana's No Frills sa 245 Dixon Road, Etobicoke, Ontario. Promo period is from November 11 to 24, 2021 only. Kaya, magmadali!
Nagli pa rin ang Pasko.
Dr. Gao, and welcome to Joy Unleashed. It's such a pleasure to have you here tonight on our show.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank you and Vaughn for making this possible, and also to all my friends here in the United States and also in the Far East, the Philippines, Taiwan, and other places for tuning in for this interview.
It was such an honor to have you here, Dr. Gao. When I read some of your books and your lectures, I was just totally awed. That's why I really hunt you down. Where is he? What's happening with him? And I found your contact, and thank you responded right away. Really, thank you for the generosity. So, let me ask you something about you. Tell me something about you. What made you select to change your line of practice from being a doctor to a psychiatrist?
During medical school, actually, I love internal medicine. And my favorite subjects were cardiology and psychiatry. Yeah. When I finished my internship at the University of the East in the Philippines, I was very good in cardiology. So a lot of my classmates saw that I would be getting into cardiology. But then during my medical school years, I spent every summer in Cebu Zhonghua Hospital. The director of the hospital, Dr. Jack Hill, was a personal friend. So I was very fortunate to be able to go there every summer and round with the staff, the doctors there, and have hands-on medicine. So I became very good in clinical medicine. Yeah. But then when I came over to this country in 1964 and interned in Rochester General Hospital in Rochester, New York, I had to begin, I started my internship in July, but in September, as you know, all my friends and colleagues were already deciding where to go for their specialty training. So fortunately at that time, my good friend Dr. Jack Hill came to visit me in Rochester. So he knew me and he knew my interest in psychiatry, and he convinced me to get into psychiatry when I was deciding between internal medicine or psychiatry. But then when I think it over, I have a lot of personal interests. I'm interested in psychology, in philosophy, in anthropology, in music, in religion. And so that I thought perhaps psychiatry would be best for me so that I can integrate all of my personal interests. Because if I stick to cardiology, it will be very, very focused, and then field will be much more narrow. But knowing my own personality, I thought psychiatry would feel better. But at that time, not a lot of people, particularly in the Philippines, that was in 1964, a lot more of my family, a lot of my friends didn't understand what psychiatry is all about. They thought I went crazy. I studied cardiology, and they don't understand what is the mind and what is psychiatry. But nowadays things have changed. So that's how I got into psychiatry. So I applied to in the University of Rochester, Strong Memorial Hospital, which is a very good psychiatry program. And I was accepted to be the first Philippine Chinese doctor to finish their program. So that's how I ended up in psychiatry.
Wow. The heart, cardiology, and the mind, psychiatry. That is a very good, the irony, and the coincidence. So, but I'm very much, interested in your study about spirituality. So, can you please provide us with your insight on the intersection between Christian religion and psychiatry? How our belief systems affect our mental health?
Well, thank you. I think you raised a very good question. What's the role of our belief system in relation to mental health and mental illness? To me personally, and I think to the field of mental health, our belief system is crucial in understanding how a person functions. It affects our mind, it affects our feelings, it affects our behavior, it affects our interpersonal relationship. Yeah. If I believe that you're a friend, I react to you as a friend. If I believe you're an enemy, I will feel very different about you. So that our belief system influence how we function and also reflects our personality. Now, in terms of religion, in the past century and also around the Second World War, American psychiatry is very much dominated by Freudian psychology. As you know, Freud is an excellent, make a lot of contributions to psychiatry, in particular understanding of the human mind and the unconscious. Okay. But Freud was an atheist. So that, and religion, the role of religion, and in fact, at that point, culture and religion is something that we are not trained to look at much more closely. So even during my residency at Strong Memorial Hospital, culture and religion and spirituality were not heavily emphasized. So it's only after I finished my training, I went to Boston and I had a fellowship in community psychiatry at Harvard, and also tried to help out the Asian community in Boston to set up health program and beginning to be exposed to the mental health programs of the Asian community. That I found there's one area that is very much lacking, and that is cultural aspect of mental illness. And And when I begin to look into that and begin to research and also write about it, then I begin to also understand the importance of religious and spirituality in terms of how it affects mental health and mental illness. So, so I would say it's very important that we begin to understand our belief system and any kind of things that can help us reduce stress through our belief system is going to be very helpful and conducive to mental health.
Well, thank you so much, Doc, because I do believe that before there was a big gap between psychiatry and religion. So right now with the new research and the ability for us to see how our brain is actually reacting to certain circumstances, that is actually phenomenal. So we're now trying to bridge, the connection, the relation between our religion, our culture, and our brains and psychiatry, in fact. So, Doc, I know I always talk about stress. I'm stressed. I've always been stressed. So let me ask you something. What is stress and what are the sources of stress?
Yeah. To understand the role of spirituality and religion as it relates to mental health, we have to understand how how stress affects our body. How stress affects our body. Now, it so happened that religion and spirituality used to belong to philosophy and to the clergy, to religious people. But nowadays, we have we understand the function of the brain much better, much better. And particularly how stress affects our hormonal system, affects the release of cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And cortisol, once it gets circulated into our body, affects our thinking, our feeling, the bodily reactions, and so that is how stress is being created. Okay. Now there are generally four sources of stress. First is the environment. Nowadays, with COVID-19, for example, and people may lose their job or have to be confined at home, take care of the children, at the same time trying to do their job on an income. This is a very stressful time, and it's all due to the environment, to the presence of pandemic. Okay. Now, the other area of stress is in terms of interpersonal relation. If I have a quarrel with my boss, for example, or if we have quarrel in the family or have marital conflicts, this can create a lot of stress, The other area of stress in terms of bodily functions. If I have heart attack right now, or I found myself having cancer, it's going to create tremendous amount of stress on me. And the last area of stress, which is a lot of people may not pay as much attention as we should, is our thinking and our imagination. Our thinking affects many areas of the brain, the frontal lobe, the temporal lobe, the occipital lobe. And if we get very anxious about something, we saw a dog and we think the dog is going to bite me, I become even the dog is okay, and it's not vicious. But if I think that the dog is going to harm me, I become very anxious. So when we become anxious, the body will secrete cortisol. That is a hormone that prepares us either to fight or to run away, fight or flight reaction. Okay, so that now it so happened that a little bit of the stress hormone cortisol is actually good, because if we do not have any kind of stress, well, then we are not motivated to change. We are not motivated to adapt. Yeah. But too too much stress for too long is not good, because it can lead to illnesses, including mental illnesses. For example, people at Stanford, Sapolsky, have shown that in terms of a lot of stress, in which the hormone may reduce the circulation to the area of the brain that affects our memory. Actually, some of the cells of memory then die off. Okay. The other area, which is very exciting, is what happened when the Nobel Prize winner Elizabeth Blackburn at UCSF discovered the role of a protein that regulates the cell and gene growth. It is called telomere. Telomere is a protein that cap the gene, the cell, in terms of its growth or not. In fact, because of the discovery of telomere, we now have a way to measure gene life, the life of a cell, the life of a gene. Now, that's very significant, because now we have a biologic way of assessing how stress is affecting cells and gene, because telomere is being regulated by an enzyme called telomerase, so that the cortisol, if there's too much cortisol, it inhibits the action of telomerase, and as a result, the telomere will shorten, it prevents the growth. Now, if our body, our genes do not live as long, then we are going to die sooner. So that a person's longevity is very much related to telomere and how our body regulate cortisol, so that we don't affect the action of the telomerase.
This is very exciting. You know, when I read about the cortisol, then in relation to that telomerase, and oh my goodness, it's so technical, but at the same time, you know, our DNA defines who we are. It's how we're made. And when I look at the telomerase as well, oh, it's the shoelace. These are vital for our genes, our cells to copy, you know? So it's important for longevity of life. So I say, okay, if you want to stay longer, then don't. It really makes sense. If you want to live longer, then don't really so stressed out. So choose your battles, you know. Make healthy decisions, because your life depends on it. And, you know, our mind is so important. Our brains is very small. It's the smallest part of our body, but it's very, very important. And when people come to me say, do I really need to see a psychiatrist? Can I just go to my family doctor? And I would tell them, you know what? Your family doctor is there to treat you. Yes, your physical, but it's also very important to go to a psychiatrist, because they're the one who studied the brain and they know the in and out of it. That's what the focus of their study is. So that's why I say encourage everyone to go and have themselves examined, diagnosed, and be treated. So which leads us to the next question, Doc. So what are the treatment methods out there and the best that you can recommend for someone who's experiencing mental decline?
That's a very important question, and also very complicated. In my experience for over 50 years treating patients, particularly Asian patients and patients generally from all ethnic background, a lot depends on severity of the illness, and also depends on the diagnosis. Now, not all stress creates serious mental illness, okay? But But there are some people who may not be able, the body may not be able to adapt as well to a lot of stresses. So some people break down with, for example, with schizophrenia. Schizophrenia happens to have some genetic basis, and also has a lot of difficulty adjusting to the environment. The thinking person, you may hear voices, you may have delusions. The judgment about reality is impaired. Okay. Now, with a diagnosis like schizophrenia, early you give medications, you give antipsychotic medications, you give supportive therapy, you change the environment so that the environment become much more supportive to the individual who are going through the challenges of the experience created by schizophrenia. So, but schizophrenia can become also very severe. A person can lapse into a very acute psychotic state. At that point in time, you need to, sometimes you may even to need to hospitalize a patient, or you have to rely on medications. Medication is wonderful because it acts quickly, and if it's well regulated, it's safe, and it pulls the patients out of suffering much, much easier. Now, talking cure is important because medications alone cannot address the root cause of the problem. It can address a symptomatic aspect of the illness, symptomatic cure, but it cannot address the root cause. To address the root cause of any illness, you have to understand, you have to engage, you have to talk to the patients, you may have to understand the person's background, environment, and also the personality makeup, what are the strengths of the person and what are the weaknesses of the person, so that you exploit the strength of the person and try to diminish the weaknesses of the personality. So that you have to adopt a much more holistic approach that may include medications, psychotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, sometimes yoga, sometimes a stress reduction technique. And for people of faith, spiritual counseling is very important because we know some people with spiritual counseling, it can reduce the stress. Prayer, for example, can reduce stress. Church attendance can also prolong. We have data to show that people who go to churches live much longer. Okay, so that there are many aspects in which the faith community can help reduce the stress of an individual. So that in terms of treatment, as I say, very severe illness, you may have to rely a lot on medication. There are many wonderful medications. Don't be afraid of medications. The way to handle medications is to work with your doctor. Do not self-medicate. Don't overuse alcohol. Don't take street drugs that may harm yourself. So that if you work with your doctor and professionals on how to regulate medicine, start small and gradually increase it, then it tend to avoid the side effects that may scare a person off. Yeah. Now, all medications have potential side effects, even for hypertensive medications. So that it's important to work with your doctor. And after a while, if you are stabilized for example, 6 months or a year, and now it's time to reduce it, talk it over with your doctor. Don't do it by yourself, because if you abruptly stop medication, sometimes it can have what we call a untoward side effects, because the body cannot adjust suddenly to the lack of that kind of medicine in the body. It can produce adverse side effects. So as long as it's well regulated, under supervision, medication can be very good. Now, depression, for example, is very prevalent. There are a lot of people who are getting depressed. The important thing to know about depression is depression, if it's not treated, become very severe, can lead to suicidal tendency. And that is the thing to know about depression. So that if a person is depressed, you got to get your depression treated rather not right away and not wait for too long. Now, depression, if it's early phase, you can have talking therapy, psychotherapy, you can have meditation, you can have stress reduction, you can have CBT technique in which you take a mindfulness treatment method in which you try to train your mind to focus on the present and not drag things from the past or worry too much about the future. So you miss what you can do at the present time. The important thing to train our mind to do is to focus on the present, what you can do to improve your life and overcome your illness. So these are just some techniques. And later on, maybe I can say a little bit more about spiritual counseling because this is an area of my my current interest and also research.
Thank you so much, Doc. So, there's a stigma going on right now, when it comes to mental illness, because a lot of people doesn't know it. And that's why they are so scared to see a doctor. So they could be diagnosed because they're thinking that, oh, I'm crazy or not. But no, they're not. They're just facing a different kind of health issues, which is mental health. Because when you are faced with a lot of stresses in life, then your brain reacts into it. And you've just explained the cortisol, you've just explained to us the telomerase. And so these are the effects. And there are also physiological effects in our body that changes when we are depressed or facing mental decline. I say decline. So, a lot of question also, Doc, I'm going to ask you this. People are scared because they always say it's addicting. Most of the medication are addicting. What can you say about that?
That's not true. There's some medications that are addicting. Okay. For example, if you take a lot of pain medications, morphine, or you take a lot of street drugs, that can be addicting. But if you take tranquilizers, that could be addicting. Okay. It can cut both ways. It can cut both ways. For psychotropic medications, medicine that is being treated for mental illness, a lot of the medications are not addicting. Not only addicting, they are safe, they are effective. In some of the newer antipsychotic or even antidepressant medications, I consider miracle drugs because it acts very fast and very effective. Yeah, and they are not addicting. Not all of them. Some may be, but not. So that don't assume all medications are addicting or all medications are bad. It all depends on the specific medication and for what problem the medication is used to treat. Okay. So the best thing to do for most people is to talk to the doctor. If you are going to prescribe Zoloft, if you are going to prescribe Ambien potentially may be addicting, but a small amount under regulations is very helpful for people that can have insomnia, for example. Okay. So that the way I think the best way to use medication is to have the courage and also the wisdom to work with your doctor so that if you experience any untoward symptoms, bring it up to the doctors, make an appointment, call him up or her up and say, Doc, I have this and these symptoms. Should I worry about it? It's due to medication. Okay. Okay, and before you take any medication, read about the medicine on internet. For example, you can learn about medicine and ask the doctors, is this medicine addicting? And to ask the doctor to explain to you. Okay, so that's how you can avoid a lot of side effects.
My goodness. And this is truly the reason why I invite you, Doc, because you're the expert on this matter, because this would really clear up or give some clarity on all those who are doubtful about mental decline or mental illnesses. So, which brings us, unfortunately, we're running out of time. So I'm going to bring you to the last question. Promise, last question. What is the meaning of positive and negative Christian spirituality?
Okay, let me just preface that what I'm going to say is partial for Christianity and Christian mental health. It may not apply to all other religions and people who may not be in religious ideas, but the idea of God, idea of meaning in life is something that is very much runs throughout human history. Now, as a Christians, as a believer in Christianity, there are certain aspects about the Bible, about the belief system that I think is crucial in understanding, so that you can use that to relieve our stress or dumb it down so that you can have a healthier life. Because Christianity basically is a belief system that is anchored on the saving grace of Jesus Christ. In other words, what the Bible is teaching is that if we build a relationship with God through the saving grace of Christ, we can become a new creature. We will have the Holy Spirit in us, and if you believe that and use that to change your personality and try to reduce a negative aspect of our personality, you can grow in many aspects in terms of having peace, having hope, even what St. Paul called the fruits of the Holy Spirit. It's not going to, you can gain some of it, but in Christian thinking, it's the Holy Spirit that is working in you to improve your life and improve your personality. Now, that's what I mean by positive Christianity. The negative aspect is that people can carry too far. In fact, if you use Christianity to divide people, to harm people, so that it doesn't bring people together, I think that's a poor use of Christian concepts. Christ himself has never tried to divide people unless there are some teaching that is against the truth. For example, he got into a quarrel with the Pharisees because some people in the Old Testament, in the New Testament time, try to stick to formalities and forget about what is important in life. If you heal a person, if you help a person on Sunday, is that bad? If you help a person during Sabbath, is that bad? Some of the religious order in Jesus' time thought that this is bad. This is again against the Old Testament teaching. So that there might be a conflict, but that's a conflict that is based on understanding what a new person can be. In other words, a new person in Christ should be able to feel free, but have a certain standard of behavior and belief system that is helped to promote healing, help people, help yourself, and avoid destructive tendencies to other people. So the destructive aspects of religion, like for example, religions say that it's okay to kill, to hurt somebody in order to proselytize. That to me is the negative aspect of religion. So we have to be wise. We have to pick what is the best ideology to live with. And I happen to feel, and the longer I practice, the older I become, I believe the biblical teachings a lot of wisdom, a lot of good ideas that we should adopt in order to improve ourselves and also improve our mental health.
Oh, so I truly believe our brain is a spiritual brain. That's what you had told me. Our brain is a spiritual, and in fact, that is so true. So there's also something that I wrote in my book. When I wrote my book, Joy Unleashed, I had a 5 aha moment, which is acceptance. Acceptance is very important. Acceptance of who you are, what you're made of, what happened to you. And there's your awareness. There's awareness of what is this thing doing to you, awareness of the changes, or awareness of even when I had issues. I also had mental decline. Everyone experiences that at one point of their life. And I admit that it was hard, but it took acceptance, awareness, accountability, action, and affirmation actually is part of that, for me to realize what life is all about, to realize that this is what I'm made of, that this is what I need to be dealing with in life. And with my belief, spiritually, and thankfully, we are so blessed, our culture is so blessed with the spirituality. That helped a lot. With mindfulness, the being present, I really took for granted before, because I never truly understand what rosary was doing. But rosary for me was being mindful, because it brings us to the present moment. Or praying, actually just praying alone, it brings us to the moment. We are aware of what we feel and what we believe. And that is like, as you told me, the our finger and the finger of God meets.
That's right. That's right. It's called in the Bible. It's called the relationship. In other words, if you look at the Sistine Chapel, I think it's Michelangelo depicted the hand of God with the finger this way, the right hand, and then the finger of a human being, another person, this way. You can see that a person is getting low, depressed, and a lot of problems, and have no way of pulling himself up. God is reaching to us. And what happened is, if you have a cross in between the two fingers, you have a breach. It's a breach that establishes a relationship between our God and ourselves. Now, a lot of people don't believe in God, so I respect that. Okay, but each of us have our own ideology. But if we believe in a creator of the universe, we believe in God, and what the Bible teaches is that you can have a personal relationship with God, not in a very fanatical way, unscientific way, but you really adopt the kind of ideology that is being taught by Christ in the New Testament. It's a wonderful document. It's a wonderful standard for behavior, so that it can change the world. In fact, Christianity, all the history, although there have been bad episodes like the Crusaders, what they have done, but Christianity helps establish a lot of hospitals, promote education, and also improve the lives of people throughout the world for centuries. So there are aspects of that we need to capture, we need to understand, that we can adapt. And what is exciting to me at this point with COVID-19 and pandemic is how to apply that kind of spiritual knowledge and personal spirituality, so that it empowered person, the healer, all of us, to help people facing COVID-19 and also suffering from mental illness. So that's a challenge for me personally, and also for our discipline in the helping discipline, so that we can pull in all the resources we have to help people who are in need.
Yes, Doc. I wish we had more time. We could have talked about this. I have so much things to share with you and to ask you. Anyhow, thank you so very much for joining us. And everyone, Dr. Gao has a new book being released, and actually it's released and it's in Amazon right now. So it's titled Empowerment.
Thank you too. Thank you very much.
Choosing to distinguish our strengths, our flukes, our weaknesses, and our individuality is the perfect gift we can give to the world. So, why don't we step into becoming the best version of ourselves? It doesn't matter what problems we are dealing, but the way we are dealing can significantly make a difference. The book intends to bring awareness to people on rediscovering themselves and aims to teach coping mechanisms to help them live a life without anxiety and depression. Based on the author's real-life story, the book will guide readers on the journey of understanding and rediscovering self and the freedom that comes with it. Grab your copies now.
From the eye clinic that introduces unique, funky, and fashionable eyewear, 7 taon na ang nakakaraan, continues to deliver. Sunny Optical is the one. Patuloy at tuloy-tuloy ang alagang makabayan, serbisyong Canadian. If you're looking for the distinctive, innovative, and coveted frames and sunglasses, Sunny Optical now serves our patrons much better. At dahil may Pinoy optometrist and optician that can speak Tagalog, alam namin ang pangangailangan nyo. 2 locations, 1 vision. They accept direct billing with insurance companies. In Ontario, we are located at First Markham Place, 3255 Highway 7 East, Unit 166. In Thornhill, we are at 1 Promenade Circle, Y007 at TNT Supermarket entrance. Kita-kita na lang kabayan at Sunny Optical. Feel free to contact us, 905-7311-999. Ang programang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Action Honda, where car ownership is made easy. Located at 4334 Kingston Road, Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Come to Action Honda. Whether bibili ka o hindi, it's always a pleasure to talk sa kababayan. Mabuhay!
Great car deals in action. Your Filipino friends ready at your service. Test drive at Action Honda today.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again, Dr. Gao. And remember, his book titled Empowered is currently in the market right now. So in conclusion now, when our brains react to threats, perceived threats, severe and chronic stress, they can override a regulated state, our normal state. And being in hijacked emotional states like these can lead to frustration, confusion, and mental exhaustion. Not to mention the effects it can have on our relationships. So as we end tonight's show, it is my hope and wish that we all gain clarity about the importance of mental health and seeking treatment. You're not alone, and you don't have to suffer. In my book, Join Faith, I'll talk about acceptance, awareness, action, and accountability. These are the basic steps towards healing and optimal well-being. So take care, all of you out there, and enjoy. It's Sunday night. And so on our featured artist tonight, Sheela hails from Las Vegas. Her song Sunday Morning was inspired by true love amidst the pandemic, overcoming distance and time. This is an original song written in collaboration by the artist herself and one of our great composer, who is now a buzz name in LA, and musical genius, award-winning international songwriter and friend, Mr. Jimmy Borja. Hi, Jimmy. It is with so much love that Joy Unleashed present to you Sheela Kunishige in her debut single, Sunday Morning. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Sunday morning, I just want to lie in bed, just for a moment, clear my head. I'm waking up from a dream. As my window lets the sun, it's dawning. Though you're far away from me, I have a reason to believe that you're thinking of me and you. Then I won't be blue when I dream of us. I yearn for your touch. My heart and my soul are with you on this Sunday morn, my love. Sunday morning, my heart is alive once more, just for our memories I adore. I'm waking up from a dream that I have you in my arms. It's dawning, though you're far away from me. I have a reason to believe that you're thinking of me and you. And I won't be blue when I dream of us. I yearn for your touch. My heart and my soul are with you on this Sunday morn, my love. I miss you, I'll be true until you are here with me. When I dream of us, I yearn for your touch. My heart and my soul are with you on this Sunday morn, on this Sunday morn, my love.
Are you looking for a place to live stream your next virtual MCBN Broadcast Center? MCBN Broadcast Center can help you explore the world of online events. We offer a mid-sized room to accommodate your next virtual events, equipped with state-of-the-art broadcast equipment and high-speed fiber internet. Experience a secure and uninterrupted live broadcast during the live stream. MCBN Broadcast Center also offers rental with our own broadcast facility for radio and TV, live streaming programs, and provides you with programming assistance. All these at a reasonable price. Located at 7894 Daffrin Street, Vaughan, Ontario, along Daffrin Street and 407. Give us a call at 905-781-6165 or email us at mcbngroup@gmail.com to book a tour.